Good morning, everybody. Wakey, wakey. It's time for Morning Glory. My name is MC Kalia, and I'll be your captain for the next 1 hour, 30 minutes. Let's have this conversation going. Good morning, everybody. Wakey, wakey. It's time for Morning Glory. My name is MC Kalia, and I'll be your captain for the next 1 hour, 30 minutes. Let's have this conversation going. Good morning, everybody. Wakey, wakey. It's time for Morning Glory. My name is MC Kalia, and I'll be your captain for the next 1 hour, 30 minutes. Let's have this conversation going. Good morning, everybody. Wakey, wakey. It's time for Morning Glory. My name is MC Kalia, and I'll be your captain for the next 1 hour, 30 minutes. Let's have this conversation going. Good morning, everybody. Wakey, wakey. It's time for Morning Glory. My name is MC Kalia, and I'll be your captain for the next 1 hour, 30 minutes. Let's have this conversation going.
It is the 30th day of May 2023. My name is MC Kalia, and this is the Morning Glory Show. And the Morning Glory Show, of course, starts now. So being a Tuesday, it is an expert Tuesday. And we are discussing the proposed financial bill of 2023. Of course, it is the biggest conversation at the moment. And so with me are two CPAs. We have CPA Titus and also CPA Anthony Kiplimo are going to help us discuss this particular bill. But then before we come into that, allow me to also remind you that we are coming live from Dawi Afrique Photography. Dawi Afrique Photography is a production house based in Eldoret. That is at the Zion Mall. So anytime you would want anything that goes into video and photo production, consider working with Dawi Afrique Photography. In addition to that, if you need to dress to be a dress, now you need to walk into D-Square Fashion House. If you need to get to dress according to the occasion, if you need to get the perfect most suit, then D-Square Fashion House is the place to go. The perfect thing is that at the moment also they're able to train you. So now they also have a school called D-Square School of Fashion Design and Tailoring. So walk into D-Square. It is at the 4th floor of Ketia's building in Eldoret. They also have a branch in Nairobi. So anything that goes into your fashion needs, of course, especially for your suits or official looks, then consider D-Square Fashion House as your number one priority. And if you want to learn in a school where you get to practice as you train, then you walk into D-Square School of Fashion Design and Tailoring. Now, this particular morning, as I promised you, is that we have two CPAs on set. I'll start with CPA Kiplimo. Say hi to our viewers and, of course, a little bit more about what you do.
Good morning. I'm CPA Anthony Kiplimo. I'm an accountant, a tax expert, and a finance person practicing in Eldoret. Yeah.
Thank you for having me on the show. My name is CPA Titus JB. I am audit tax or audit here in Eldoret. Let's interact and understand what the proposed changes that have been made in the bill 2020.
Okay, thank you so much for that. And now, if you are watching at home, of course, help me share the broadcast. This is something that will affect almost each and every one of us. So I would actually love that as many of us watch this. As of course, there's also a lot of false information that is out there about the bill. There's a lot of exaggerated information. There is misinformation. And so on the Morning Glory show, we usually say you want to separate the wheat from the chaff. So make sure that you have as many people as watching, and let's have this conversation. And starting with you, Kiplimo, of course, before we even talk about the finance bill of 2023, let's look at of course, the motive of the bill, or rather the process of enacting a bill in this country. How do we start? Where do we start, especially for such a particular bill?
Okay. First of all, about the motive of the bill, obviously the government wants to raise money. The government don't have money. So the biggest motivation for the government side, is for them to raise the money. Second is the process of enacting a bill or making changes on the bill. First of all, when it comes to finance or finance the government, there are two major factors or two major players that are concerned. First is Kenya Revenue Authority. Next is the Treasury. So in the normal process, Kenya Revenue Authority and Treasury come up with changes in the law or in the finance bill from the previous finance bill that has been there over the time. So when they come up with the changes, they produce a document for like now they have the finance bill 2023, there was finance bill 2022, 2018, 20, and then they make their changes that will help them raise more money. The main motive of any government in KRA Treasury is for them to raise more money each and every year. So they make changes on what's supposed to be raised. They have their projection, they have their target. So they see at areas where they want to increase the revenue collection. So after that, the document goes to the public. The public are supposed to discuss on it. They present their views. They discuss on the bill. Currently, I think the discussion, the public participation will end today or tomorrow for the finance bill 2023. After that, the bill goes back to Treasury, and then they make some changes, and then now it goes now to Parliament, where it is being discussed also. Some changes are being made, and then now finally it goes to the President for assent. Yes, that's the process.
And of course, now coming to you, Titus, there is a process that needs to be followed from a professional point of view, as it is, and as where we are at the moment. Do you feel that we are, in terms of process, do you feel that we've done it right?
Thank you, MC Kalia. First of all, let me just emphasize on what Kiplimo has just said, that there is a paradigm shift, okay, across the board, okay. We are in a phase of transition, okay. There is a regime change, okay. We are in the hustler era, for example, okay, and there are things that will change in terms of governance, for example, and that also affects the way they want to spur the economy. Okay? There is this finance bill, for example, seeks to change the way we collect tax. Okay, but it does not seek to stop.
I don't know if we're getting you well. I think you may need to check your mic or something, or I may need to give you a different one. Okay, is it fine now? Are you okay? How about this? Are we good? So we've lost the voice completely. Okay, so maybe take us for a break, then we come back well.
Good morning, everybody. Wakey, wakey. It's time for Morning Glory. My name is MC Kalia, and I'll be your captain for the next 1 hour, 30 minutes. Let's have this conversation going. Good morning, everybody. Wakey, wakey. It's time for Morning Glory. My name is MC Kalia, and I'll be your captain for the next 1 hour, 30 minutes. Let's have this conversation going. Good morning, everybody. Wakey, wakey. It's time for Morning Glory. My name is MC Kalia, and I'll be your captain for the next 1 hour, 30 minutes. Let's have this conversation going. everybody. Wakey, wakey. It's time for Morning Glory. My name is MC Kalia, and I'll be your captain for the next 1 hour, 30 minutes. Let's have this conversation going. Good morning, everybody. Wakey, wakey. It's time for Morning Glory. My name is MC Kalia, and I'll be your captain for the next 1 hour, 30 minutes. Let's have this conversation going. Good morning, everybody. Wakey, wakey. It's time for Morning Glory. My name is MC Kalia, and I'll be your captain for the next 1 hour, 30 minutes. Let's have this conversation going. Good morning, everybody. Wakey, wakey. It's time for Morning Glory. My name is MC Kalia, and I'll be your captain for the next 1 hour, 30 minutes. Let's have this conversation going. Good morning, everybody. Wakey, wakey. It's time for Morning Glory. My name is MC Kalia, and I'll be your captain for the next 1 hour, 30 minutes. Let's have this conversation going.
We do apologize for those technical hits. Those who were with us before we went for a break, we were discussing we are rather discussing the 2023, the proposed 2023 financial bill in the country. Talk, and when there's a lot of talk and maybe not necessarily have us to get the facts right. Also is a CPA to help us discuss this particular bill. And we continue. I was talking to Titus, and I was just asking the so far in terms of process, because process of what a bill till this particular moment in terms of process.
Thank you, Kalia, again once more. As I was explaining, you remember I began my conversation by emphasizing on what Kiplimo had said, and that we are still in a transition mode. That's why there's a lot of noise out there about the proposed changes in the finance bill, because there's a paradigm shift in the way governance is done in Kenya. That's number one. Two, of course, this government will want to do these changes within the provisions of the law, and I think as what currently is going on is actually within the framework of a requirement of a bill before it's ascended. Yeah.
Thank you so much for that. Thank you so much for that. As we continue sending those questions, let's have a conversation, which is, but at the moment, I'm sure we are quite stable. And so if you have any friends who feel need to be part of this particular broadcast, please let them come in. Of course, they can see panel judges. As this we are aware, say hi to my great friends, right people for the topic. Very informative. Thank you so much for that. And Kiplimo, now let's tackle the whole by let's now go into what is it that we have and what is it that the bill proposed. Maybe in the next 3 or so minutes, you can take us through some of the main changes that this bill is introducing into the current status.
Okay, thank you. First of all, there are major changes on this bill, because majorly the main concern is the government wants to raise more money. The government is saying they don't have enough money at the moment. So the reason why this bill is causing a lot of noise outside there is because of the major changes that is being made. First, one of the major changes is the the VAT on fuel. You know, previously before 2018, VAT on fuel was exempted. It was zero rated. There was no VAT on fuel. Then it was supposed to be introduced at 16%. There was a lot of noise that time, if you remember. Then at that time, President Uhuru decided to put the VAT on fuel at 8%. Now, the current government want to raise the VAT on fuel to 16%. I know the only way of raising a lot of money at once is to tax the masses. Anything that the masses consume in mass is the only sure way for a government to raise enough taxes. So one of the biggest way where a government can raise money is obviously targeting fuel, because everybody uses fuel either directly or indirectly. The next big thing that the government is doing to raise the money is to expand the tax base. And one of the ways of expanding the tax base is to get those areas that have never been taxed. And one of the major areas is like taxing the content creators. You know, previously content creators were not touched, but currently now the government is going for them. Another area is on apart from fuel. There is also raising the income tax rate, especially for people who are running more than 600,000. That is 500,000 per month for individuals. They're raising the taxes from 30% to 35%. Okay, there are so many areas like apart from the content creators, there are so many other areas that the government is targeting. In terms of raising money, like the capital gains tax, they are raising the capital gain tax. There are so many other areas that are raising. I know we'll discuss it as we go. Okay.
How different between now and the time?
I don't know exactly how to tackle that that question, but let me.
The impact that it will have now on the common mwananchi. What are the
Yes.
changes that we may feel as now the people on ground?
Okay. Currently, it's still on proposal stage. It has not been ascended into law, but of course, and this is something that people need to be told. Okay, let's the truth be told. The proposed changes as both give and take. Okay, one, for example, we are going to see a change in the rate for fuel, for example, VAT on fuel. It is going to be increased to 16. Okay, at the same time, on LPG, okay, it is going to be exempted from the 8%. So it means now you will get your cooking gas, for example, cheaply, which will benefit the masses. And then you who is able or has the ability to buy fuel will have, there will be a change in terms of the price. It will increase, okay, but slightly. Two, there is changes that have been proposed, for example, and this is something that it needs a sober mind to understand. One, for example, the housing levy. The housing levy is not a tax. It is something similar to what we are having currently, the NSSF, for example. It is something similar to that, and I think something that the people need to be clarified on is the structures in place that the government have put to come and actually manage this fund. Okay, it is your savings. The government is saving for you. So after 7 years, for example, you can withdraw that money if you want. Okay, so that is something that needs to be explained to the people, that you are not taxed, but rather we are only trying to create a pool of savings. Okay, because any government that wants to do something, okay, if you want to borrow money, for example, you borrow against what? Okay, there has to be a basis. And that is something that is going to change. If you compare the previously, what was happening, we had a government whereby if they wanted to get a loan from somewhere, you will hear them that they will increase this price for this commodity by 2 shillings. Okay, because that is the terms of the loan. This current government doesn't want to go that route. Okay, first of all, they want to seek to have a pool of savings. They want to borrow from within. That's the main objective. Let's borrow from within. Let's power the economy by borrowing from within. And in a way, it contributes to even the current state that we are in. We are in excess demand for dollar, for example. That's why the shilling depreciates every day and every day and every day.
And of course,
Yeah.
then somebody would say that you are supporting this particular. How different the would be from what has been happening? Because everyone, the noise right now is that maisha yamekuwa magumu, and the government is taking more money from us, whether it is for 2 days or 3 days. There's been an argument that we cannot save what you don't have. You save after you eaten and you're now comfortable. Like, okay, are you getting it? But then now, if you don't have what to save, then how do you save?
Like I said, this bill needs to be discussed in a very in a sober manner. Of course, I don't support all of them, but most of what, if you look at it, okay, it is a pain that we hope to suffer in the short run and benefit in the long run. Okay, because one, if we are able to save as an economy, okay, our government will not look to borrow loans or to go for expensive loans out there. We are able to finance our economy. Okay? We are able to finance the economy from within. Okay? We are shifting from where if counties we are having a delay in I think this is something that we should go back to before this era came in and really understand what they were saying, because I think they're walking the talk. They said, we are not going to borrow more loans. Where do you think we'll get the money from? Okay? The previous regime didn't have a problem. They would borrow loans. Okay? Some with approval of the parliament, some without approval of the parliament. Okay? So this one is changing away from that. It is moving away from that. They said that the cheap loans that were accessible were expensive. I mean, the loan that you'd just make a phone call or a small agreement were expensive. And when you look at the sustenance of the economy, they were expensive. We're on the verge of collapsing economy. Our debt ceiling right now is at 9 trillion. We are closing in there. Okay? So what this government is seeking to, one is to look for ways of paying off this loan from within. Okay? And at least be able to create now a room for even borrowing a loan that is going to spur the economy. We are moving away from we want to look at what is hands-on, for example. If we talk of infrastructure, for example, we want to go to, this government wants to go to infrastructure that is going to create how do I put it? If you look at agriculture, right now we are importing maize we don't produce, as a country, we don't produce enough. So if this government is going, if this government is going to raise money from within or borrow loans that are going to spur directly agriculture, then we are going to see a shift. Okay, in one, demand for dollar. Okay, the shilling will appreciate because we are not demanding for dollar for things that we shouldn't even be. Because if we're able to produce enough of the country, then we are not going to import maize from Brazil, for example, or South Africa. Yeah.
Okay, and of course I'll still come back to you so much because now maybe from my viewers' point of view, they'll think that maybe you are the devil. Kiplimo for a minute. And Kiplimo, I remember you were here during the Hustler Fund, and there are things we talked about. Of course, I'll still want to come back to that. But then you are here once again when the government is making how we collect the taxes.
First of all, obviously, let's go back to some facts. The country has a debt of around 9 trillion. Our GDP is around $120 billion. That's around 12 trillion. But our revenue collection against our GDP is 14% against the normal rate of around 25%. So obviously, the government has a very big problem. All the money that we have borrowed since has never gone back to the positive side of the money that we have borrowed since the, let's say, the last regime, or since Kibaki left. We have borrowed around 6 trillion. The impact on the economy is so minimal. Okay, at the moment, we are supposed to be talking of collecting around 4 trillion in terms of collection because of the loans that we have borrowed, of the investment the government have made. But at the moment, there is a negative impact on the borrowings that we did in the last 10 years. So now the government is in a crossroad. Okay, very low revenue collection, a lot of debt, a lot of recurrent expenditures. Okay, so what does the government do? IMF has been giving us loan. World Bank have been giving us loan. Our development partners have been giving us loans. Okay, they have been giving us for the last 10 years. But the moment they are saying, okay, we have been financing you guys. Umefanya nini na hiyo pesa? What have you done with this money? How much have you raised? Okay, how much can you raise your taxes? Our taxes are raised. Our collection since Kibaki left, it was around 1 trillion. Now it's around 2.2 trillion in terms of tax collection. Against a target of around 3.5 to around 4 trillion because of the borrowing, the investment have been made. Okay. Now the current government, they are in problems. They need to borrow a lot of money. Okay. And the money is within the economy, you know. So what do they do? They have to put the extraordinary measures. Obviously, the common mwananchi, the problem in Kenya, we are growing a very bad gap. There's a gap between the rich and the poor. Okay, we are going the India way, the Brazil way. Okay, where there is a very big gap between the poor and the rich. When you say the Kenyan economy is growing, who is the one feeling this economic growth? It's only the rich. Most of the people don't feel this thing. Okay, this means all the money that have been coming in this country, they benefit only the few, not the masses. So when the government is trying to push on a lot of taxes, you know, when it comes to matter of taxes, it affects everybody in the economy. Okay, the rich will not feel these taxes. 16% on fuel, they don't feel these things. But now us, what kawaida. Okay,
Kiplimo, kuna swali mimi nataka kuuliza. Kuna wakati ilikuwa zero rated, then it was brought to 8%. Now we are talking about 16%. We felt so much impact when it was 8%. We are adding another 8%. Then of course, Titus has said that maybe the government has reduced the LPG gas, but then of course the impact still remains the same in terms of fuel and all that. Of course, I'm sure factories don't use LPG unless a few of them, most of them would use the other fuel, which means that at the end of it all, the cost of living will go up. Is there a time we expect cost of living to come down?
I don't think there's ever a period that cost of living goes down. Ever. I don't think. Even it gives rising, it goes like that.
So, you know. So what is the, and of course, as we move towards Titus, because I can see he's already he's already smiling and wanting to say something, because I'm here. Of course, in this case, I would want to take the Mwananchi perspective. How do you go to the market at the moment? Because now you are a professional, you are a CPA, that is your work. How do you explain to a Mama Mboga somewhere who voted in this government on the basis of it is a hustler government? How do you explain to them that by taxing you more, I'm trying to solve your problem? How do you make sense to them?
Okay, it's a difficult one. It is really difficult to explain to them. You know, they are used to their normal lives. When they're being told fuel will increase, scurry will be increasing, that's sugar. They don't get it why it's increasing. You know, a normal person, they just want to put the food on the table. Okay? We are in a very difficult position by the explaining to the common mwananchi that this thing will help them. You know, we have a very poor records of government how they work. All governments in Kenya, there's a lot of corruption, a lot of underperformance. Okay? So anybody doesn't trust the government. Okay? The government comes in place like the new government, they want to impress the common mwananchi. The only way is by taxing them. But now the common mwananchi is not sure about these people. So there's a very thin line between people understanding that the government will do and not understanding. And you know, and the government wants to do development. Okay? But where do they get the money from the common mwananchi? The common mwananchi, they want to see the same development. They've been promised. Okay? But they don't want to be touched. You see, there's a thin line there. It's a complicated relationship.
For me to deliver, I must tax. Okay, now let's go to Titus. Of course, this is the Morning Glory show. If you have any friends who are not watching this broadcast, let them tune in. Of course, we had technical issues at the start, but then right now I can tell you that we are going somewhere now. Titus, coming to you, let's talk about the issue of, first of all, service delivery against taxes. Because somebody said, and somebody has argued somewhere, that if you are able to reduce wastage in government and we are able to reduce corruption in government, we are going to somehow improve service delivery. Do you agree with that? And to what extent? Because I know you have the figures. Do you feel it is a valid point?
Yeah, thank you. Now, I want to take us back a little bit back on the view of the proposed changes. One, of course, there are things that we will not be comfortable with. Okay, as much as we support the some of the changes that we feel as professionals will have an impact in the economy, we also need to look at for example, the ripple effect of increasing VAT on fuel. Okay, of course there will be an impact in terms of cost of production. Okay, along the supply chain, it will be affected. There will be an added cost on items. But at the same time, we need also to look at now, if you do that as a government, what do you, how do you propose, what would you do to counter that ripple effect? For example, if we add if we make changes like from on the VAT, for example, what incentive does the government also provide to the production to manufacturers, for example? Are we assured that the cost of electricity will come down in the event that even if we collect more tax from the fuel, is the cost of production going to go down? So those are some of the changes, some of the things that you would look at and think, okay, whereas you do this, okay, how do you counter the same on the other end? Two, Kiblimo has talked about the culture, and I think this is something that has really made a lot of noise. The culture in Kenya, okay, we are still ranked on the lower numbers in terms of corruption in the world. Okay, and I think unless when we accept, first of all, to do away with corruption in Kenya, then people will be comfortable when a government makes proposals to some changes. Okay, if we are taxing more, then we would want to see a change in terms of service delivery. If we tax more, for example, let's see free healthcare system. Okay, or if it is not free, let healthcare system be affordable then. Okay, transport. If we are increasing VAT on VAT, let's have transportation system that is more affordable to one, to the common one, two, to even farmers, for example. Let's have the farm deliveries to the market at a lower cost.
I'll have to interrupt you a little bit, of course.
If we are taxing more, let's see a shift in, okay, whereas the government is taking more from you, ukienda shule, your school fees has reduced. But now, let me just say that, and this is something that this government, through this finance bill, must be very, 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 very keen on. When you tax more, okay, where is that impact felt? And I think that is something that is causing a lot of noise. People are not, it is not clear on where that impact is going to be felt from.
Exactly, and that is exactly now the discussion this particular morning. You've said that the tax is a good thing. Are you getting it? I want to ask you a very simple question as an individual. Now, let's take away professionalism from you. Let's talk to Titus, who runs a business in a Eldoret town. Do you feel, or do you have the trust that after you've been taxed, your money will go the right place?
Of course, of course. One thing, when you look at the person who is the government, okay, you want to trust that the government is doing this in good faith, okay, and what will make people pissed off, for example, and this is something that they need really to be very careful, is the monster in the house. Wastage of public resources. Okay? If the common mwananchi is assured that your 10 shillings will have a value, we'll take 10 shillings from you. We'll take 10 shillings from you, but you'll have a value for that money. I don't think people would have a problem. The problem that is in the house and that is making a lot of noise is when we are raising taxes. Okay? How do we deal with the corruption issue? Okay? Are these taxes we are collecting going to serve the need that the common mwananchi expects? If we collect tax and spur the economy, let's lower the cost of food production. Okay? Let's lower the cost of manufacturing. Okay? Let's see a government that now, if you are taxing us more, okay, impose more on importation, so that if I have a small farm or a production farm, I'm assured that I'm not going to compete with a Chinese product which is produced way at a lower cost. Okay, so those are the things that this government need to me. That's my feeling, that whereas we make changes in how we collect our taxes, let's also see a shift in the way our day-to-day lives is. Okay, let me feel that this issue, for example, of unga. Okay, the government is saying the unga is 150 shillings. How they work? This is the bread basket of the country, this region. But unga is at 220 shillings. What is the price of the same in Ijara, for example? What is the price? It must be they are selling there 300. Whereas here in Eldoret, where we produce the maize from, we are buying it at 220 shillings.
Okay, and Titus now, particular direction. Unajua umeenda direction moja very sensitive now. Of course, let's go to Kiplimo, then come back to you. But then Kiplimo, in connection to what Titus has said, we are talking about, you said the taxes are good. Of course, I'll ask you the questions if you have any reservations or also changes that as a person and as a professional you feel may need to be imposed on the bill. But then we are talking about the issue of trust here. They believe that the citizen who is now going to bear the weight of extra taxation is going to get service delivery. As a person, same question I asked Titus, do you have trust in this government that they are going to use the taxes in a way that is going to benefit the mwananchi? And I'll make your question longer because you've been here before. Let's make reference to the issue of Hustler Fund in terms of how it's been implemented. Let's talk about the issue of CISs who are now battling their positions in court. Let's talk about the issue of wastage in government. How many months? A few months into power, less than 1 year, headed towards the first budget. Do you have trust in the movements that they've done so far, in how they've behaved in parliament? Do you feel that the taxes that are being collected would go the right place?
As a common man, I'll say I don't believe. Given what we have been seeing in this country, we have a very bad culture. You know, I usually our public officers or our government officials, they are corrupt. Let's face it. And the money that we collect, majority of it doesn't go to development. It goes to people's pocket. So obviously, I will not want the government to raise the extra money, because they need to assure us of our money first. They have a very bad history. Okay? So, as an expert, I want the government to raise more money for them to develop more. But will the government be able to manage this money appropriately? My friend here said we want better healthcare. We want reduced cost of production. We want better services in terms of the county governments, wherever. You know, we want every time we pay more taxes, we want better services. Okay, but the government in place, we are not assured of that. Okay, they have tried on the ASLA fund, but now to me, the way they implement the ASLA fund, the whole idea is good. You know, as a country now, we are back there. We have this a lot of these mini financial, micro financial institutions. These mobile loans providers, they are clearly killing business outside here. Okay, as an accountant, we have seen the impact of what they are doing to business. Actually, they are really frustrating people. They are giving people rates that doesn't make sense. If somebody gives you a rate of around 20, 15, 10% per month, with your gross margin on your income of around 5%, that person is killing you. I know the common knowledge that they don't realize that. They are working for this guy indirectly, but they don't see. So the FLI fund came to take care of that gap. But now where the government failed a little bit is the issue of opening up the FLI fund to everybody. Okay? That's where they fail. It was supposed to be targeted only to people who are doing business. The mama boggers, the border borders. They could be put a procedure of how we just handle the way to make sure that this money goes to people who deserve it. Because if you go outside here, a lot of people daily, there are a lot of people who borrow money every day. They borrow in the morning, they repay in the afternoon, in the evening. Okay? At a very high interest rate. The AFSOS fund was supposed to take care of that gap. Okay, it has tried, but I don't know how sustainable it will be going forward. Okay? Now, on issues of CAS and government expenditure, there's a big problem actually. To me, the president could not have appointed the CAS at this time. The president is telling us, wait, I'm fixing things. Okay? I'm reducing the cost of the recurrent expenditure. I'm reducing this. One of the things he could have reduced, first of all, is the CAS. To me, it doesn't help anything. Just rewarding political loyalties for at the expense of the taxpayer. And I think the courts will do have justice by doing away with the CAS positions. Okay? The government also, they really need to go down and see the expenditures. We are in this town, we are in this in this Kenya. We see a lot of government wasteful expenditures. They waste a lot of money. Okay, the president really need to wake up and see how he will cap the expenditure. Okay, the president need to see how he will assure the Kenyans that wherever he's taxing, is going to the right places. And you can only see that one by action. Yeah.
Okay, let's come back to you, Titus. Of course, if you're watching at home, we are discussing the proposed Finance Bill 2023. It is government's way of getting money, the experts have said. But then the question here is, after collecting the money, where will the money go to? And the next item I want us to look at this morning, Titus, is something you've mentioned before. You mentioned the issue of house levy. And you said it's not a tax. The president was asked the question, if it's not a tax, why would it be mandatory? As an accountant, as a professional, what's your opinion?
Kale, that's why I said what people need to be assured. Okay, it's not even most people don't have a problem. Okay, because even the card of the people who are going to pay this money is small. Okay, it's less than it's the people who are on payroll, for example. Okay, the number is small. It is just a small part of a contribution that is going to go a long way.
Before you continue, for the purpose of those who may not have understood how the house levy is going to work, we saw the PS Hinga the other day really struggled to explain how it is. I don't know if from zile sema zako na your research, have you managed first of all to find out? Can you explain to us how this is supposed to work? Everyone has their own version.
Okay, now let me also try as much as possible to explain. and I will take you to I will take you to a typical payslip. Okay, currently, if you are employed, okay, your payslip will have gross salary. Okay, and then there are deductions to that effect. So those deductions, there are those deductions that are voluntarily. Okay, you volunteer to be taxed, to be deducted from your salary. Two, there are statutory deductions. Okay, these are deductions that are made with support of a given law. Okay, so currently we are saying on that payslip there is pay as you earn. Okay, and that fact is that if you're earning 24,000 and above, okay, you'll have a residual to pay. 24,000 and below, your tax, the relief that you are given on, will take care of that. Two, there is NHIF. Okay. Three, there is NSSF. So the fourth one that is coming, that's why it's causing a lot of noise, because it's something that is going to be there for a while, because it is going to be a statutory deduction. Okay, and it is coming. I think I don't know how to say. It's supplementing the NSSF. So why people have a problem with housing levy? People are making reference to how NSSF has been managed. For example, previously there have been instances where corruption case has been reported on NSSF. So this, so it is a small contribution. Okay, NSSF is a small contribution compared to now deducting 3,000. Okay, currently the maximum NSSF can is being deducted per employee. For example, contribution is 2,160. Housing levy is going to be 3,000. Okay, so what simply is going to change is how much savings is going to be deducted from your salary, and this goes for those who are only salaried. Mama Mboga is not salaried, for example. Okay, so for housing levy will not be applicable to that person. You see, so the noises that are coming out is because of people worried. Okay, and it is, let's say the truth, on how this government is going to manage that fund.
So then,
So what government needs to do is to give assurance. You see, this government should, and it is something that is in the feeling, they should shy away from pleasing the masses, for example. You see, the way Asla Fund came, as we felt as professionals, okay, it is something that should have taken time. It came to counter, for example, the, what do you call, the full visa, the microfinance. But now it came with a lot of disappointments. People are given very small limits. Okay, so to that, it gives a small what do you call, it gives a very small happiness. Okay, but it doesn't give a sustainable satisfaction in terms of even the impact on the economy. They have introduced Asla Fund. There is the business loans now, and I think that is something that these people, the fund managers should now. That is where the money to spur the economy should be, so that people shift from borrowing from the Shylocks, for example, to preference to Asla Fund. So housing levy, okay. The thing I think even that the PS didn't quite bring it out was on the framework on how this thing is going to be managed. Yeah.
And Titus,
Because
of
people
course,
need to be assured that I save for 10, 20 years, and I'll be able to get my money. Okay. Another thing that that needs to come out clear. Okay. If you are contributing 3,000, and this is something that wasn't also quite clear. If you are contributing 3,000 and you want to purchase a home, to be on homeowner of 2.5 million, how long will it take you to repay that loan against a deduction of 3,000 that you are making? Okay, because why the government is going to construct these houses, but they are not going to be for free. It's only that it is low cost. Okay, if you want to own a home, you can easily go for the 2.5 million home or 1.5 million home than the 10-15 million home. So it is a low. That's something that, and why the government is taking this money is not even for you yourself to be in a position to buy that house. The government is creating a pool of savings, okay, to be able to even get now, even if you go to IMF and say, I want money to construct low cost housing to sell, because it is going to sell those houses, isn't it? And they're going to be, people are going to be given freehold leasehold titles. So it is creating a pool of savings. That is what people need to understand, that you're not contributing 3,000 to go and purchase a house for 2.5 million. It is a pool of savings to me. That's what I understand. Okay, and that needs to be clear to people, that if they take away my 3,000 from my payslip for this number of years, I will be assured that at the end of that time, I will get my money back. And something that needs also to be clear is that currently, for example, NSSF, okay, when calculating pay, you deduct NSSF first from the gross pay, okay, because that is the contribution that you're making to NSSF, when it matures, is when you'll be taxed. Same applies to the housing levy. It will, and it is something that is even going to be a plus, by the way, for those who are salaried, because if you are paid a gross salary of 30,000, okay, if you deduct 3,000 and deduct 2160,
Then you're already below
the cadre, okay. You will not pay the pay. So in a way, it's actually a benefit to many, because even your pay that you're going to pay will reduce.
Okay, now and before we okay, no, let me just remain with let's come back to you again, Titus, because now you've decided to be the housing levy. Yes, Titus, let's take a scenario where, of course, you've said this money will come back to yesterday. Them demonstrating. From the explanation you've given, is that you are not necessarily purchasing a house, but you're helping the government get a pool of money which they can use to construct houses, then later sell and give you back your money. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, actually something similar to that, but let me put it this way. One, of course, what this government is trying to do, and it is something that is going to take time. They want to introduce a culture of savings. The thing is, here is savings, okay. And if you save, how do I put it? if we make if we contribute now, for example, to the housing levy, this is saving. So kama uko na nyumba yako, for example, if you have your own house, okay, this money you are going to be refunded back plus interest. It is a saving. It is going to yield interest. Okay. The mindset of the government. Okay. Let me just brainstorm of what the government imagines. Is to create a where, because of course the money that is going to be to build these houses, for example, has to be maybe borrowed from somewhere. Okay. For you to borrow something, you borrow against what are you hedging against that? Okay. So the government is as far as people is concerned, okay, people say, okay, Mimi, I don't feel like I'm comfortable contributing to housing levy because I'm already a homeowner, for example. Okay. So what should come to your mind if you're already a homeowner of, for example, already, is that your money is you are actually saving. Okay. You are saving. It is a saving that is inscribed in the law. Okay. Yeah. That is the shift that I feel the government should tackle from.
Okay, and somehow that makes sense. And of course, so one would wonder why the government is having difficulties in explaining that. But then now coming back to you, Kiplimo, of course, we are headed towards the tail part of this particular discussion. And the main question, or the main thing that has come out this particular morning, is that some of the initiatives that the government is pushing for are good. But then the issue is trust. And of course, I can see both of you nodding, which means that actually we are in agreement. Now, in the next maybe 3 minutes or so, Mr. Kiplimo, from an accountant's point of view, from a financial expert point of view, we are living in a country where the price of everything is skyrocketing. Is there any leakage of how, leakage quote unquote, of how somebody needs to behave in these particular times? Is there a particular way you can advise the common mwananchi, the people who are going to bear this new levy? As Titus was talking, I remember the teacher would explain that I'm not saying I'm not willing to pay the 3%, but then we have people who have committed the payslip completely. What happens to those people who their payslip at the moment has nothing? Now, is there any advice you can give to someone who is living such a life at the moment?
Okay, first of all, let's do this thing as a normal Kenyan. First of all, it's time now. If you have never cut your expenses, it's time now to cut your expenses to the lowest. Okay, if it's about growing your own food, it's time now to start growing your own food. It's a time of making like bread at home. Is the time now. The best time for Kenya now is to go to the bare minimum.
Chakula ya Christmas ianze kuheshimiwa.
Ianze kuheshimiwa. People now should start, because you know the problem with government, when they implement things, rarely do they go back. Okay, so we know like these taxes, most of them are coming. Okay, very few will be cut back, but most of these taxes are coming to us. Okay. Next, I'll speak about to the business people. These changes are major changes to organizations, to businesses. Okay. If you look at the finance bill properly, there are major changes coming up. Like the one now in VAT. There's a big change in VAT on how VAT will be collected. The government using technology at the moment to collect VAT, and actually from tomorrow, the government will they are going now full. They have been relaxing, but from tomorrow, the new VAT laws, the new VAT systems are really being implemented to the fullest. So the business now is a time now for businesses now. If you have been avoiding taxes, it's time for you to see how you'll be compliant. Okay, it's time for you now to come on board. You know, at the moment, there's no need for you to be usko na kimbia. Okay, the best is for you to come on board, see how best can you be part of these systems. You know, when the government catches up with you, there's no way you'll escape. You know, you don't need these penalties. Okay, the best way is for you to come now to produce yourself and try to minimize your tax. Okay, you know, tax evasion is illegal, but tax avoidance is legal. Okay, there are so many ways you can do. You know, like VAT, people fear VAT, but really, if you look at VAT, the issue of input and output, if you play with your input very well, or if you are very keen with your input taxes, your VAT liability will be very low. Okay, but now the problem is people are trying to avoid this thing completely. You're trying to run away from this thing, and remember, we are in a digital world. The government has our data. Okay, from Safaricom, from that is Lipa and M-Pesa, to our banks. Okay, from our suppliers. You know, so many of these big suppliers are compliant with the government. So the government can know you from even your suppliers. They know they have been supplying to you. So the era of hiding is over. For business people, the best advice for you to tackle this tax thing is to come on board. Okay, look for good experts. See the best way of you for you to be compliant. Okay, so there are so many changes that are coming up for our businesses. Like now, for our income tax, the government is saying from next year, for you to claim any expense, the expense should have gone through the ETR. You don't claim an expense that you didn't purchase from a recognized person. Okay, so these are major changes that are coming up for our business, and it's high time that business need to come up. You should employ technology in your businesses. You should get the right people to advise you. Okay, the tax changes will never stop. They will never stop. It will be expensive slightly in the short term, but in the long run, these big companies are tax compliant. Why not the small companies? Okay, so people should start embracing the government. From my tax point of view, people should start the government. The best also way is to lobby. Okay, I'm a director at our local chamber of commerce. We can lobby. We can lobby for reduction in taxes. You know, the government is the people. Okay, if you can group ourselves well, it is difficult, but if 1 million people can agree on something, I'm very sure the government can listen. Okay, so there are so many ways of getting ourselves through this situation.
Okay, thank you so much for that. And of course, I'll come to you, Titus, for your parting shot at this particular morning. Of course, you've said a lot of things. I'm sure some of my viewers may have wanted to take them against you directly, but then I'll protect this particular morning. What would be your parting shot to somebody who's listened to this show and has heard all that you've said?
First of all, this is something that I would want everybody. Okay, let's avoid the street courts. Okay, we are going to be misadvised. Please get a copy of the finance bill and read it. See what good in it. See what you're not comfortable with in the first place. Okay. For example, this is something that is my own personal view. Okay. The increase of VAT on fuel, for example, is something that should worry people on the ripple effect on the economy along the supply chain. Okay. 2. And this is something that goes to everyone. Okay. Look at the Finance Bill 2023. Tax amnesty is coming. This is an opportunity for you, okay, to pay your principal taxes. Okay. And get a waiver on interest and penalties. It's a big opportunity. Another thing that is a positive thing anyway. Let me talk of the positives, because there will be reduction on the cost of imports. Okay, by marginally by around 1%. Okay, there will be reduction in the cost of gas, cooking gas. Okay. So what I would advise people is to change. The change is now. Let's change the way we do our businesses. Right now, if the government is trying to bring as many people as possible on board to pay taxes, okay? Because the existing people who are making a lot of noise are already strained, and there are a lot of people who are not paying taxes. So if you are a businessman who has been hiding, it is time for you to pay attention to compliance as a risk factor in when you're assessing your business risk. Compliance is one of them. So your operating environment, look at the compliances around your operating environment. Come out of the cocoon, okay? Get a professional to advise you on how to start now running your business within the frameworks of compliance issues, so that you are not caught. Okay, imagine being given a tax assessment of 5 years when maybe your business was doing good 5 years ago compared to currently. You will be forced to start selling your property because you need to pay for taxes that you didn't pay maybe 5 years ago. So the earlier you get that what do you call it? That inspiration to come out and say and appreciate now that it is my civil responsibility to pay taxes. Okay, it is my civil responsibility to make noise where you're not comfortable with. Okay, so let people let's have a more healthier conversation on this. Okay, let's get our representation. Let's hope the people we elect are going to represent us to their best in terms of getting this finance bill rolling, because it is going to affect us actually for a very long time.
Okay, thank you so much for that, and thank you so much for making time to be with us this particular morning. Kiplimo, of course, also as you give your parting shot, congratulations, of course, for the new role as a director of the Kenya National Chamber of Commerce and Industry Uasin Gishu chapter. So maybe you can mention that and what you do as part of your parting shot. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Kalia. First of all, Uasin Gishu Chamber of Commerce is a group of businessmen and women in this town. It's a lobby group for businesses. Our main aim is to protect the interests of business in this town. Our main aim is to engage with the county governments to give us fair rates in terms of taxes, to give us the services that we deserve because we pay the taxes of the county governments, to give us our right as business people. Also, our main role is to engage with the national government, especially now it's talking about matters taxation. Our role is to educate people about tax. Our role is to lobby for any tax changes that favors our businesses. So as a lobby group, we have a lot of things to do. We have a lot of things to do. We do a lot of training to our people. Obviously, the main thing is lobbying, and you are free to register. We welcome people. If you are in business in this town, we welcome you to come and register with us, to come and engage us to see how we can promote our businesses. Now, for my parting shot is as we finalize on this finance bill, and I know the public participation is ending, I think, tomorrow, and the bill is going to Parliament and to be ascended before 1st of July, and I'm just encouraging people, especially people who are in business, to go through the bill, to seek the right expertise, to see what is the impact. What's the impact of the bill on your business? How far can you go with this bill? What's the changes that you're supposed to make to your business? Okay, so the business people should be able to to be my main point is to be compliant, especially on matters tax. Please be compliant. As my friend has said here, make sure that you are compliant. One of the key things that you'll do in your business at the moment is to be tax compliant. See what are the taxes required for you, what's the procedure of paying it, what's the procedure of doing it. Let's avoid this thing of hiding. Hiding has been costly to so many businesses. Okay? And now the final part is to to the common man. Watu wa kawaida. Maybe we may not have a lot of voice or a lot of options, but let's bear with it. Let's pray for the government. Hopefully they will make some good changes. Hopefully they will manage our finances well. But also remember that you can lobby from different angles, from your local lobby groups for any changes for the government to make. Okay, and with that, I thank you. I thank you so much.
Much for that. And of course, I was looking at something interesting here, written by the one and only Miguna, saying that my unsolicited advice to Kenya Kwanza, led by President Ruto and Rigathi Gachagua: pull back, listen to Kenyans, withdraw the financial bill 2023, postpone the implementation of the housing levy, return to the drawing board, hire new independent and truthful advisors, reshuffle your communication team and hire 2 or 3 fresh faces. Don't rely on yes men and yes women. Don't be defensive. Don't argue with the people. Stop entrenching the perception that you are the only hiring from 2 ethnic groups. That is the Miguna of Kenya. With that, my name is MC Kalia. This has been the Morning Glory Show. If you need to dress to be addressed, D-Square Fashion House is the place to go. If you need to learn from the best, D-Square School of Fashion Design and Tailoring is the best place for you to learn fashion. Both D-Square School of Fashion Design and D-Square Fashion House are situated at the 4th floor of KTS building in Eldoret CBD. Now, Dawi Afrique Photography, of course, and Safaris now is giving you a beautiful chance for you to travel to Rimoi on the 16th and I think the 16th and the 17th day of June 2023. We are going to Rimoi. So if you need to see the biggest elephants in the region, then you'd find them at Rimoi. So make sure that you join us those 2 days as we go there to experience. Of course, it's a loop that has a lot of interesting sites. You have the Iten viewpoint, we have the Torok Falls and all those other attractive sites there. But then the biggest one is that we'll be camping for 2 days in Rimoi. There'll be a lot of fun, a lot of time to rejuvenate, a lot of time to relax your mind and even think about the housing levy that Titus has said is not a bad thing. So see you on on those 2 days at the Rimoi Park. And of course, as we continue to plan, we'll be sharing our posters and all those. But then make sure that you pay early because the slots are also quite limited. Of course, I'm told that right now almost half is already booked, and we still have barely 2 weeks. So that means that you need to do that as fast as possible on the 17th and the 18th day of June 2023. That is this coming month. So hakikisha kwamba tunaenda Rimoi tujibambe with Dawi Afrique Photography and Safaris. My name is MC Kalia, and with that I want to thank everyone who's made this particular broadcast a success.